$1 bill, yo.
Today we are going to show you some of the, we're going to go into some of the crafting changes we made. And I snuck them in yesterday, so they are in 5.4 and they will make their way to 5.4 live. Perhaps later today, tomorrow-ish, we'll see. That is imminent.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed that there's nothing critical left, and then we can start moving into 5.5 stuff. But we're going to show you that, and we're going to talk about how we got there. So, Mark, why don't you dive a little bit into how items were itemized and how we decided to change them.
Sure. So, what was it, like 2.5 years ago or whatever? We did our last pass on crafting and stats. And so, generally, as far as like how you might ask, hey, how do you decide what this stat or what any given stat's going to be, right? It's like darts on a dartboard. What I mean, generally, what we do is we start with where we want to wind up, right? So we say at the max level we want this much health or this much attack bar or whatever. And then we start dividing those pieces up, right? And so for any given, what we call vector, like items or skills or abilities, there's a certain budget for that. And so with items, way back in the yonder years, we were basically budgeting for 14 was the magic number, right? Because there was going to be 14 slots, 14 things you could put. So pretty much all the stats were being divided by 14, right? Fast forward to today, much different. Well, things change, right?
When we added way more stats, we matured in a lot of where things go, and we're now like, oh hey, only attack power can come from the weapon.
Exactly, and things like that. So and looking at things the game is today. Blair and I sat and we had a conversation. We talked about a lot of different things, but the biggest change with this is basically rather than trying to take any one stat and dividing it by 14 across basically every piece of armor or equipment that you might have, we instead basically broke them up into smaller bits, right? So instead of dividing by 14, we're dividing by 3 or 2 or 5. Depending on where the stats wound up, and that was the first thing, right? And so what that will do is will basically means you can have much higher values for any given stat,
right?
Which if you've been reading the board feedback and seeing some of the items that people have crafted so far, you'll notice that it's far and away much more satisfying stats, right? And I guess the second part of that conversation we had too was about like packages, right? Because we wanted to give you guys let you have a variety and get get the stats you want on your equipment, right? So we rather than just basically saying, hey, you can boost your attack power and that's all you get. We instead basically you'll be able to choose attack power and crit chance or crit chance and crit damage, or basically there are packages of things. So we think that's probably going to be more satisfying for you guys as well. So that's basically resulted in what you see,
yes,
or will hopefully see very soon.
So I'm going to show today some jewel crafting, because jewel crafting, as part of this, also got its stats. So jewel crafting, you get gems from harvesting motherlode nodes if you have a skill above a certain value. There are some harvesting disciplines that can do that. And you'll notice there's some new cuts in here. Why is baguette in here 4 times?
Lots of baguettes.
Oh my goodness.
They're delicious.
That is a bug.
Those baguettes.
See, that's what happens when I rush things in as fast as possible.
Oh, we're thinking bagel.
But I didn't want it to sit on 5.4 in live in a broken state for too long. But we're going to make a triangle cut. Shit. So which one is the triangle? It's one of these 4.
I'm going to go with
that one. No, it's probably going to be the first one.
It'll be a surprise.
Let's see.
It will either be what he wants or not.
And for whatever reason, Lars gave us cut gem icons. He didn't give us the rough icons. So we'll have to do that. We'll have to get him to do that. And I'm going to, what else do I need? A diamond cutting blade. I went ahead and already made those pieces just so people could see. put a water flask in there. We're going to start adding some wells to the world where you can go and get some water, because these are going to go from additives to requireds. Right now they're flagged as
time.
Yeah, right. Basically, we didn't want to punish people for something we hadn't put in game yet, but as soon as we put them in, these are going to go from additives to actually being required in the recipes. Flawed assembly.
Bum, bum, bum,
Bum, bum,
bum.
bum. However, you can see this gave me crit hit damage and a personal healing modifier. Why don't you tell us what personal healing modifier is, Mark?
Well, a personal healing modifier modifies your personal healing. So that means when you get healed. So that would mean you heal yourself, or somebody like Jack heals me. It increases my healing for myself.
This time when we craft it,
having made our Cheaty McCheaterson ring.
My Cheaty McCheaterson ring, so I've got some more stats, so that doesn't happen. We're going to go in there, and we are going to make where's my diamond cutting blade? We're going to assemble this guy. Hey, look at that.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. Except this time, this guy gave me...
because you're using the second set of bagels.
The second set of bagels. This one's giving me necro experimentation points and necromancy experimentation. So I think points are the most valuable thing. So we're going to go for that guy and that guy. Amazing. But that's not the one I wanted to make. Let's go ahead and make that guy. And take it. But let's go back, and we're going to do this one more time. Let's see what kind of stats these are coming out with. I wonder why those points came out low. I wonder if the water is giving credit. We'll have to look at that recipe. Because in theory, that should have come out higher.
You didn't get that last time with the necromancy, or do you just not have the skill for this type of...
No,
Okay.
the skill is the same. I'm guessing one of these components is... and that time, notice how it had no stats. That's interesting. And this jumped.
Doing it live.
Doing it live. Hey.
Always do it live.
Everything does it live. Let's see what this guy... I'm really going to export that string table after this.
Hey, there you go.
Okay, there we go.
That's the...
It's still not coming out with... I would expect more points because that guy is epic quality after all. So I'm guessing that...
I think the water's bringing you down.
I think I'm getting... I think the water is counting against me. So one of the things that we can do in the crafting system is we can say that this object does not... No matter what its quality is, it doesn't calculate in the weighting of what the quality of the item should be. It in fact just says, hey, use this thing and you're good to go.
In fact, that was kind of a recent change with the assembly part of the deal, right? As far as like qualities having an effect.
Yeah, and if you look at this, notice how it's coming out poor.
Mm-hmm.
So it is in fact inheriting one of those. But that is something that we will work on. So if I go ahead and grind this guy. So after that, give me some grinding stone, blood or water. So blood or water is going to determine what the third stat that goes on a gem is. So if you use blood, I believe it makes damage bonus, and water will make a healing bonus. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use blood. And why is that? See how it popped up there?
Yeah.
And in this case, the final damage modifier is on there because I used the blood. And I can monkey with that, but it's not going to raise the other stats. No. Sorry. Amazing. I'm sad that came out poor. That darn water. I bet you if I... Oh, you know what? I bet you if I did it without water... Let me go back. Let's try that guy. Was it that guy or that guy?
Yeah, I don't know if it's actually moving on you.
Because the water is not required yet, but I just happened to throw it in there. Yep, see how it didn't? It is the water that's pulling it down. Okay, now we know. The more you know.
The more you know.
Are you sure you want to skip experimentation? Yes, we're not going to keep you.
Alrighty then.
Let's get rid of that guy.
So that'll be good to know if you happen to try this. If we
Yeah.
Before we get a chance. to fix
Gems
this
are far rarer on live because of the skills, and they don't have the time and the item wipe that is coming with this. So let's go ahead and put in there. Oh, that's the soul gem. Why am I on rough soul gem? That guy and some polish and paste. And I'm not going to use well, it doesn't matter. We're already in the poor scale, but let's go ahead and assemble that guy. And at that 4th step is where it gets now a additional stat of critical hit chance. So all rings will come with critical hit chance and some critical hit damage, or at least if you take this is the triangle cut ruby. No grade, run experiment. Next, make item. So it's funny because one of Onres pulled over items from live last night. So why they can pull stuff from the spirit banks over into test, who knows? But he pulled over one that had already been cut, but it skipped all these phases, so it didn't have the stats on it.
Right.
So this is what a gem is going to look like when it's finally through the entire process. And then you actually have to mount it into a ring and a ring setting, in this case. The band just basically gives you durability. So you'll notice that the gems didn't have any durability, and that's on purpose because you're going to end up getting all your durability from your setting and basically the metal component of it. Hey, look at that. They got the setting looking good.
Nice. That's cool.
I just love it when icons show up because we just deal with
surprise.
we just deal with widgets so long, and then one day they just the icons show up and you're like, oh, that's cool.
It looks like something.
And ring. We will take our setting, that guy, and our gemstone. Polish triangle ruby. Hit the assemble. Ooh, amazing assembly. I actually got it up from the poor stage. In fact, I skipped 2. I went from poor to green because the setting and the look at that.
Natural good luck.
We've recovered a little bit. However, what happened to the stats on it though?
Doing it live.
Doing it live. All right. Well, let's see what happens. Are you going to give me something with no stats? Yes!
Oh,
Why would it do
I
that?
don't know. Maybe your amazing assembly was a little too amazing.
Maybe the amazing. I wonder if the amazing does something terrible and horrible that we don't know about.
Not very amazing.
Because yeah, the way as everyone knows, the way our crafting system works is the stats from the previous combines always trickle up, unless something
unless they trickle right off the cliff.
Unless what the hell? All right, well let's see. Let's go ahead.
Apparently, that's a reported bug.
Oh, okay.
You will actually see the stats when you equip the item, according to Anchorage.
Oh, you know what? My final damage modifier is going up.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Well, that's good.
Oh, you know what? I bet you it's the tooltip for the ring is not set to show stats.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
So there is actually stats on there. It's just
that's
all
an
right.
easy one.
That's an easy
one.
That's an easy fix. That's a quick data fix. Yes. Okay. I didn't bring a piece of paper. Somebody write that down. Because I will fix that right after
here.
the stream. Because that one's nice and easy. Easy fix. I like easy fixes, though.
Yeah, it does.
That's much better than things in the crafting system are horribly broken. Let's go for our square cut ruby. What do we do with this guy? Oh, he is in fact, he's square cut. He hasn't been ground nor polished. Let's go with, well, it doesn't really matter since these are crafting stats, right? So, we need our grinding wheel and blood or water. So do we want to put healing on there? Why not?
Yeah.
We'll just show that, yep. The healing modifier comes from using water on those guys. Let's go ahead and put that on there. 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 Let's go ahe All right, so let's go ahead and jewelry ring. Let's go ahead and put our legendary ring band setting. Maybe it'll bump us up again.
With your cubic zirconium made of plastic.
No, Flood. Well, you, sir, are going into the fires of Mount Doom. My square ruby ring.
With the legendary band.
Weird. There we go. He is going in, just for spite, to the fires of Mount Doom. Yeah, that's right.
575.
Boom. Give me some XP.
Get you half a level.
Get me some XP. Well, see. Throw him in there. Okay. So what else do we want to show? Everyone's probably... It was funny because everyone was surprised at the values of attack power and things like that were coming out on the new weapons. I'm guessing the basic stuff is way out of... yeah. Basic weapons may need just a little bit of boost so that they're not complete trash compared to...
Yeah, we'll see. Right?
We'll see.
I mean, it's like I said, people are hitting basically. I mean, if you get an amazing success on, for example, like an attack power, you know, if you amazing all the way through, you'll be pushing 300. So.
Or legendary. What did I push yesterday? Was it a 500 on legendary? Everything with amazings all the way. It was pretty high. So we can go into question mode if people have some questions.
There we go.
Oh,
So much XP for plot. Yes, that's true.
who said that?
Oh, Gorwald. So much XP for flawed, and that is actually by design, because we want you basically even when you fail, you should still win.
Tinnisk asked, will there be intermediate arrows? Right now, we don't have.
Probably not. I mean,
so there's a challenge we have with the difference between the basics and the advanced, which is there isn't a whole lot of room.
yeah.
So we don't want intermediates bumping into advanced in any way and impeding on them and making them look worse. So the jump in some of those cases is good.
Right, because we want to maintain a good spread for just the advanced crafted items, right?
Right.
So, I mean,
Someone mentioned blood as attack power. No, blood is damage modifier. Final damage bonus. So rings give either healing modifier straight up or final damage modifier, which are probably the two most powerful stats in the game. So, yeah.
no indirection. They just do what
They
they
just do exactly what... They're straight up multiplier on damage or a straight up multiplier on healing. A while ago, we were told something to the effect of 1/3 of character's power would come from skills, itemizations, and from abilities, discs, or your spec. Could you reiterate this design philosophy? I probably butchered it and described whether or not this is still accurate. Do you think the change to weapon armor stats is a little too much or just right to maintain this balance? Well...
Yeah, I mean, it's basically what I said at the beginning.
What Mark said at the beginning, yeah, exactly, is that balance was in there. It was just attack power was being divided by 14 instead of 2. So you may be surprised to see 300, but if you'd actually made an advanced everything, including 5 slots that we don't have anymore, so the mystery 5 that we're just eating stats, then yeah, that we're still right where we were.
Yeah.
It's just...
You didn't have access to get there.
Yeah.
And the chances of you being able to get, what would it be, 28 or 72 consecutive amazings without access to factories or anything.
Correct.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
So, yep. We didn't boost. In fact, I think we lowered attack power's cap somewhat recently, so it wasn't ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yep, I think we're still on track there. They're blazing. Is it possible to put a feature speech to text chat for people like me that have trouble reading and writing, known as dyslexia?
I mean, that'd be a Twitch thing.
I don't know with our new with the voice and all that stuff that's going to come online. Do games? I haven't looked at the Able Gamer stuff recently. I don't know if they offer stuff like that, or
Yeah,
I haven't seen it. That would be kind of cool, but I'm not promising anything. Any ETA on factories and guild banks?
Ooh.
We have no ETAs on those, Kenneth, because we're still building. Will there be a reset when live leaves pre-alpha? We are doing resets as we need to. So all of our items have changed. When 5.4 gets pushed to live, we are resetting everything but skills. Intermediate rune tools. Yeah, I'm on the fence on intermediate rune tools because an intermediate rune tool is technically a tool that's made with a wooden runestone. If you make it with a stone runestone, then it has way more durability than the wooden runestone. I don't know. We'll see how much intermediate stuff we need. I really don't want to take away from people who take rune crafting as a profession because that's just going to eat into their sales.
Right.
The better stuff that gets pushed down for free. Strather asked about seals and whether it was intentional that can no longer be added to metal bars. Yes, weapons no longer give any other stats other than attack power. So all of those stats that used to be on
attack stats.
Attack stats. I'm sorry, not attack power, but attack stats. So anything that deals with offense or support power or healing bonus, like all of that stuff is all on the weapon. Which is why it has such a high value, is because you can't get it anywhere else. Right. So we removed all of the crafting stuff from weapons and put crafting stuff onto armor and or rings based on which stat it was. So certain crafting and harvesting stats will be available on the armor, and certain ones will be available on jewelry.
Funny side effect of that is you could actually be a crafter with a really good weapon.
Correct. How will you divide what recipes are unlocked along the linear research lines between class and needs, etc.? We'll just go ahead and kind of put them out there where we think it needs some progression. Right now we're granting everything in the base box for an advanced profession, but that will probably change because I can't see armor layers, which are pretty advanced, being given in the first box. In fact, we may even make a note in there called layers. Where are the recipes for Scimitar and Focus Orb? Can't find them anywhere. They are in 5.5. That's where they're at. The art was not ready for them, and the effects were not ready for them for 5.4. Are elemental arrows in? Pretty sure elemental arrows are in.
I mean,
we did all the work to make it so you could equip them. Clearly the quivers are in.
Yeah. I have to double check, make sure the recipes are there. But...
A knight's block will boost his damage modifier up to 75, yet stats cap at 40. How do you plan to address this? Probably
by changing. So in other cases like this, if there was a previous bonus of 75%, we'll give it to you some other way, right? So we'll probably have to grant damage bonus and attack power or something else that'll get you up to that. So.
When can we craft a survivalist field camp, and how will those differ from a small campfire? You will be able to dance and play your musical instruments at the survivalist field camp. No, you won't. But it will do. Yeah, entertainer profession coming soon. It will do something cool. We haven't figured out what that is. A lot of cases, we just put nodes in there as reminders to ourselves that yes, we really need to do something here to make something cooler.
It's probably not 5.5.
So for any of you that write code, you'll probably familiar with big blocks of to-dos. That's kind of a designer to-do. Is we just see that and we're like, yep, because we sleep. And we tend to forget things when we sleep. So, okay, that was a fantastic change. Bravo. I have no clue what he's talking about, but you're welcome. Crowfall game will be able to equip rapiers in offhand in the future. Will we be able to?
Probably not.
I don't think so, because I think they were animated in the for the duelist. They were animated in the right hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically we're bound to where those things were animated. This is a silly one, but it bothers me. I noticed under the Ganetian racial passive, it says we can double jump. I cannot double jump. Is it not implemented yet? Correct.
Yeah.
Double jump is also why we're waiting on the Fae. Even though her model and all her stuff is ready to go, we want double jump and glide finished from a tech side before we actually push her live. And the Ganetian will automatically get it as soon as that is enabled. Have you designed crafting disciplines yet? We have not designed crafting disciplines yet. That is on the future content list of to-dos, but we will get to them. Will a Templar get to use a two-handed hammer or axe? No. Will someone like a knight ever get two-handed? Ever?
Yeah, ever is a long
Ever's
long
a mighty long time.
But
What we're looking at for launch, the Templar uses the closed two-handed grip, and the weapons you talked about are wide two-handed grips, which are the champions. And anybody else get those? I think it's just the champions.
Champion.
So he can use a two-handed hammer and axe. But you'll notice his hands are held like this, and all his animations play off of that, whereas the Templars are all the close two-handed grip, like she's holding a greatsword. So you can't just put the hammer in there and have it look good. It would look pretty silly, in fact. So that is a future thing, but using words like ever, only a Sith deals in absolutes. Will a Templar get... Oh, wait a second. Can you give us more experimentation categories than just one? That's not a lot of choice when we can only experiment in one. Even 2 is kind of boring. We need 3 or 4. I think Kanth is talking about grade and luster and sheen and all of those. We tried to give as many as possible. I mean,
I think most everything has at least 2, right?
There's a couple that have 1
There's a
still,
handful,
but yeah, I know
for the most
it's.
part, anything significant, I think, has at least 2.
I didn't want to create like a BS stat like luck
Yeah.
and just have you spend points on something like that. It's if we don't really have a strong stat for it, we didn't put it in there. Give Templars maces, please. Again, that's we would have to wait to reanimate her for the wide two-handed grip rather than the closed one. Don't you think support classes are pigeonholed into only focusing on support power as their sole focus and progression? Absolutely not. If that is what you want to do, we have given you a whole lot of choice. Crowfall is all about customization. So how you want to gear them is how you want to gear them. I mean, you can totally go attack power. I saw a sword made yesterday that was split 50 attack power, or 50% attack power, 50% support. Which, if you're trying to make a healing knight, or if you did that on one of the druid weapons and you're trying to split it, again, it's all on you guys. We're giving you the tools, and you figure out what you want to do. You reduced harvesting stats on tools. Did those get moved to other slots? Yes. The harvesting stats on tools now are also found on armor. So you have 4 available slots plus the tool, which meant your divisor was 5 instead of the previous 1. Do water wells come in quality levels? Does it take skill to get water? On res right now, we're just going to put wells in, and they're basically going to be like treasure chests that are...
Treasure chests of water.
They're treasure chests of water. They look like wells, but they're really just treasure chests. Right now, we don't have a plan for multiple qualities. However, clearly, as seen in the demo with Jewelcrafting, we need to turn off the quality contribution from water whenever it is in there.
So no plans for Moisture Farmer as a profession.
That is a massive nerf to gathering stats, coupled with the tools getting nerfed means we're going to be 5 to 10 harvesting crit list. This is going to cripple harvesting critical chance. Well, I suggest you make some armor and put some harvesting crit and crit amounts, which is the pair that comes on that, if that is what you desire. Or, if you like weak points, I think weak points are also offered as one of the armor builds. So I am dubious that you are in fact crippled on harvesting crit chance, Wraithor. Go ahead and make some advanced armor. So I guess the whole class is removed until 5.5 lol rip sim. No, you can still it just has no appearance. You can play it just like it is right now. It just it doesn't have an appearance. The appearance will magically show up. Oh, I'm sorry, you mean by crafting it. Yeah, you can't craft it. Totally forgot about that. Yep. How's it different from not having a model in previous versions? Any ETA on tracking? We have not started tracking at all. But we still have placeholders in the skill tree, and we want to do something with it. Now that the stealth stuff is maturing, we can probably start. We're getting close to the point where we can actually... you lost holding a left mouse spec, not a big loss. I'm not sure if that's in... any ETA on the Fae? Yep, as soon as we get double jump and glide working, then the Fae is going in. It's not as much of a big deal for a race because the race disciplines are already done.
Mm-hmm.
So we can just basically turn the switch on once we have the missing pieces. Why is the assassin fighting with a rapier same as mace like a dagger?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I was not aware that. Do we? I don't think we let anybody but Ganesian or duelists use rapiers, do we? We'll have to look.
Yeah, we'll have to look.
I don't believe there's intended to, but we will ask the
It's weird that they
artists.
can backstab with a mace. That is a little weird. But if we disabled that, then that would mean that they could never use anything but
Yeah,
daggers.
I mean you can still back thunk, right? I mean seriously, you wanna.
Ka-thunk.
It's pretty.
Okay.
Blazing
Smack somebody in the back of the head.
Definitely use rapiers.
Will there be a farm parcel that you could grow crops and stuff like resources for cooking? That sounds great. In fact, we talked about food as a necessary thing for campaign survival. And we have the chicken ticker up there, which is currently ticking down. And the only way to get food for it now is apples and meat. So it's definitely a possibility, and we want to do it. If we get to it, I don't know. I know we can't revert skills back into banked time, but will you guys ever consider putting that in game? It's easy to screw up on skill learning tree. And basically an undo button. Maybe? I mean, it's not on the it's not on the short-term list at all. I think we want to knock out the bugs remaining in skill trees and put a nail in that one and call it done. So Templar, only one choice weapon ever.
Never say ever.
Never say ever. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. How many times do I have to say that? Why no bow on Templar as an option? Because Templars don't get bows. If everybody could do everything, then you have a problem. In what percentage of completion would you say you are now towards completion of the full game? Wow.
Well, we're still not alpha yet, so
Yeah, we're not alpha yet, so I mean, that's, I don't know, we're very low.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of the architecture pieces. What you're going to start seeing more in the next year, though, is game systems come online.
Yeah, and you might be surprised at how quickly things begin moving once all the pieces have connected.
Right.
And basically everything we do is, because right now it's all infrastructure stuff. Like a lot of the things we're doing are just like we're building the foundations. Once the foundation is built, then boom, you know, the whole house will go up.
Once the gameplay, once all of engineering is devoted to gameplay, then stuff comes online pretty quick. Naiad's Fountain of Life is still using the Druid Orb as a default graphic effects. Any plan to change it? Will you add the blue circle? We can talk to Greg and Aislinn about that one. Maybe they just skip that one. But yeah, Fountain of Life is the one that spews out heals. So, in fact, I think that was supposed to look like a little water sprite.
The wacky water.
Yeah, basically. I sent them a picture of a wacky water weasel. If you remember one of those from the 80s, you'd plug it into your hose, and it was this little cylinder, and it had all these tubes, and it would go.
Which, you know, due to injuries and stuff, I believe are now illegal. In the
Yeah,
United States,
I haven't seen one sold
like
in a long
androids.
time.
Yeah, because they're killing kids, but.
The wacky water weasel of death.
I think it was a knives on the end, but I was actually doing
Not a safe toy. Anyways, yeah, it was supposed to look like a water sprite and was supposed to be spitting out little water things like that. So, okay, how does AP affect damage? Does it affect base damage values or weapon damage values? By how much, and what is the coefficient? Don't know if you answered this already. Stupid phone call.
So attack power is basically 10 attack power is same as 1 DPS on your weapon.
There you go.
Long story short.
I made a ring last night, and the stats were lackluster in comparison to the new weapons or armor on purpose. They're being divided by 3, but there's also one more spot where I need to look to see if they're coming out like we wanted them to, and that is the coefficient on crafting. A lot of our numbers in there are based on the fact that we were letting you multiply at every level. the rings don't have that multiplication at every level. So,
Okay.
so maybe we can jack up the base values on their first experimentation.
More spreadsheets.
Yes, more spreadsheets. Gear made yesterday may be a part of testing and not something they really wanted to do. No, it is a step. Everything is a step. So this was a big step into kind of putting our stats into packages and getting everything kind of brought up to speed. Let's see, quivers don't work in 5.3. Yeah, I think we fixed everything in 5.4 for the quivers. And they are gated behind advanced training as well as a costly rare resource. What's wrong with that?
That I don't know. I'm not familiar with the
I mean,
what
you
the
have to.
recipe is.
You have to either get a discipline or you have to. The rare resource is heartwood, and you need to get to the point where you can harvest heartwood or take the harvesting disciplines that allow you to get that thing. I mean, yeah, ranger or quivers are for the advanced guy. They're not for Joe new guy straight out of the box. If Templars are not going to get two-handed hammers soon, might it be possible to get slashing weapons to use the adjudicator discipline, as a Templar can equip the disc but not use it? Or maybe we should take them off the list who can equip that thing.
Yeah, we'll have to look at it.
Because we're...
It's up to you.
Wait.
Because adjudicator was the hammer stuff.
Yes.
Right, so.
Okay, so this question is basically if they're not going to get two hammers...
Why can they use adjudicator?
Yes.
They probably shouldn't be able to use adjudicator.
That sounds probably more logical. On the topic of arrows, where did the arrow counter go? I think it used to be down here, and the UI guys are constantly tweaking things. That one might have gotten missed in the update, but I think they're going to tweak this thing again. Can you really hear the reading of questions? I don't know. Leather suit now requires a metric ton of leather to craft now. Any chance you consider scaling this back? Maybe. The rate of killing on, was it 5.3 where they were just whirlwinding the boars to death? Was pretty insane. There is clearly some specs that are really good at AoEing 4 and 5 boars at a time. The Elkin spin and jump was crap. The new one is a lot better.
Glad you like it.
Glad. I will pass that along to the animators. Crowfall game. Is the POI collection of materials and resources going to change? The current chest grab isn't fun or engaging and doesn't create any battles. You just wait for a respawn timer. Well, right now, that is our mechanic to get a bunch of high-rank stuff out there. As the high-rank stuff is naturally out there, we're going to start pulling out resources in those chests, and it will just be materials for building keeps and forts. Or just keeps, because forts don't need it. 400 leather per suit is ginormous. Maybe. But when you can AoE those things in mass, I don't know. I'm waiting to see people start really working together and just taking out fields of things.
The NPC game's coming very soon.
Yeah.
Right, so.
Assassins can you use rapiers for? Sure. Elkin Shadow Sight and other stealth detection isn't working. Flare Arrow doesn't work either, yet Mole Hunter does. Is this issue being tracked?
It is in fact being tracked. I looked at it. And so it's still being tracked. I don't know if it's going to be fixed for 5.5 yet or not. It's certainly not a data problem. It could be something techie with it. So we're looking at it though.
What was it?
Actively. We don't know yet.
Okay.
Don't know yet, so.
Recently, anyone has been able to equip a variety of weapons, whereas previously they had to unlock non-native weapons with a mastery disc. Was this intended? I would think the specialty weapons, like we didn't change the can equip checks on things. I'm not sure what.
Right. Well, the only can equip check changes that have been made are based on, like for example, like Adjudicator and Templar. right? If something was, because you know, again, a lot of times designs, you know, you paper design something and then you implement it 3 months later or whatever,
Yep.
and things change, you know, right? You may not, you know, whereas originally maybe we thought Templar was going to use hammers, for example, and it turns out, hey, now they're not. Then we need to go back and change, you know, change other things due to that.
Chicken ticker is dropping in half after one good fight. Is this being looked at? By the time we get through the first portion of Siege, every character is starving. I don't know why that would have changed, because I haven't touched anything in food in forever.
Yeah.
Or the rate. And you see me standing here. In the entire stream, I've consumed about
Half a chicken.
So I'm not sure why. Spending lots of stamina.
Maybe.
And you know what? Maybe some of the things started working recently. It also depends on what race you're playing, because certain races are designed to eat food faster than others. Like the Minotaur, I believe, as well as the Legionnaire, consume food pretty crazy. So they're going to need to always be aware of that, and or take some stats that can mitigate that if they really don't like it. I think there's some jewelry options now that let you worry about food less. It's because Retaliate's taking so much stamina. Fae and Elf currently have identical harvest and craft race bonuses as this intended. Yes. Because elves and wood.
That's all I'm saying about that.
Because they live in trees, they love the trees, they clothe themselves in trees. They are masters of wood, and they all must be masters of wood. Yeah, we had this discussion. It was pretty amusing. We should have done a fly-on-the-wall video on that one. It's like...
Because trees.
Because trees and elves. Thank you. Okay. EVE on Live has EveMon, a skill training application. They plan to support a system like that, skill training. Is there any support for a Crowmon system like that? I have no doubt that...
Cool.
It'd be cool. I think EveMon started out as a player... the players built it, which I have no doubt that the same thing will happen if we are too slow in building something like that. That Siege Sunday, we were having tons of issues with chicken ticker eating apples. Let's get them some apples. A cart of apples. Are there unique equips in capes, horseshoes, etc.? I've done a bunch of prototyping. The capes definitely work. We're not giving them out yet because Art's still making them work on everybody. Or everybody who can wear them, that being
not everybody.
Humans and half-elves. However, there were other classes added in there that weren't originally, because the knight was the one originally who had it. And polearms are definitely something that that I got working. Horseshoes, I just need to sit down and spend some time and make the recipes, and that's just some content work that needs to happen. So that stuff, at least it works. It's just a bunch of time to actually build it. Vessel swapping in 5.5, vessel crafting in 5.5. You can currently craft vessels, and you will be able to swap to them. Ideally, the crypt comes online in 5.5. We'll see. Bye-bye, Adjudicator. Look at what you did. Do we have any homework? Yeah, keep crafting. Post results of your crafts on cool things. Other classes get their intermediate weapon, and rangers get no intermediate arrow. You are making the rangers stuck on arrows, forced to use basic till advance can be gained. We can just put a couple extra DPS in the intermediate bow if we really want to. I'm not too worried about that. That's an easy solution. Is the durability loss issue 10% no matter what fixed for 5.4? Ah! Well, we'll have an update on durability and death as part of 5.5. But not ready to talk about that yet. Will you be able to fish in the future? Every MMO and fishing, man.
Yeah, gotta have fishing.
Gotta have fishing.
Maybe you'll be able to fish in a well.
Ah! You just open
Do it
it,
on the
and
cheap.
there's a fish
Ah, you
there.
caught a fish!
Yay! That reminds me of like the Galaxies fishing. It was
Yeah.
there was a little suey box.
It's like, you got a fish.
You got a fish. Will we have more cosmetic in the future, armor, character, or more customizable things for the EK? And maybe some more things. Always looking for more customization stuff. Leather is outrageous. Go make some metal armor. I really want to see some people making some metal armor, if at all possible, because we just changed everything and we need to make sure that it works. Unless you have 2 fully trained skinners, you can't keep up with the kill rate. Unless. Okay. Chests are the problem. They aren't fun and they don't make sense to see chests near the lumber mill or mine. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry. Cedar's kicking in. There's no basic or intermediate There's no basic or intermediate one-handed mace. There's not supposed to be. The mace is an advanced only weapon. Not everything. Basically, the intermediate is a boost on the basic stuff, and the basics, again, the intermediate is not intended to be.
Right, it's a stepping stone.
It's a stepping stone for a brief period of time until you can find a better weapon. It teaches people, hey, this is what a little more advanced crafting is after just using wood and stone or whatever to make that basic. It's really not intended to be a long-term playable thing that you're going to use. You're always going to want to use advanced because advanced has things like 400 attack power.
Right, it's literally bootstrap stuff, right? Eventually, we'll be at the point where you'll jump into a campaign and you'll go to somebody's vendor and you'll purchase the items you want to use, right? Or you'll be the person making them.
Or you'll bring them into the campaign as part of your import. So, I mean, yeah. The intermediate has its purposes. Just don't think of it as an end-all, be-all. This is what I'm going to play with. Talk to some of the crafters or train in crafting. Or buy some stuff. But that's probably what talking to the crafters is intended to do. Because they will say, I will give you stuff for money. People still need to train their skills towards skinning. You're all smoking something. No, it's the cedar. It's the cedar. We're not smoking anything over here. The right mouse button normalization probably went overboard, and the effect in Athari when no one was complaining about their scoot. Could you?
Well, I would take issue with that.
Yeah, I would take. Yeah.
If you were us, you would see that there were complaints about the scoot.
There were in fact complaints about that
for a long time.
Yes. So they can go, but they just have to wait longer on those goes now.
It's literally it's literally time equals distance. So.
You mentioned air wing boars is a good way to get leather, but they don't despawn. Oh, okay.
Air wing flying boars. All right.
Autocorrect these days.
Yeah.
Do you guys increase the despawn time of the corpse in 5.4? I'm not sure, but more AI is definitely in the map, and higher quality ones are in the map as well. But I mean, I guess it comes down to, at some point we'll determine, this whole issue will be the rate of resource generation and the amount of time we want somebody to craft a piece of gear. If we go too light, then you flood the economy and there's way too much. If you go too less, the demand is always high, but the stuff's really expensive. So getting the economy in wax based on the amount of stuff that's coming into the system is probably a future spreadsheet that we will deal with. Just curious why Mo Daggers was taken away from the Duelist.
Oh, because they can't use. I assume you mean Master Daggers.
Okay.
They can't use daggers, basically. Very much like the Adjudicator situation.
Correct.
And again, it was because initially, before Ganeshan existed or Duelist existed as a thing, the plan was, yep, they'll use daggers and rapiers and all the stabby things, and then once they released that changed. So
Can I play this game as a crafter, farming, or fishing without fight and etc.? Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely get resources and craft and play the EK game and get all your stuff that ways. So, we don't have farming or fishing yet, and that may not be a launch thing, but we've always talked about things like that.
right, just essentially playing the merchant crafter.
Yep. Previously, a ranger could not equip a mace or axe, for example, without having master of axe, stone, etc. I don't know. It depends on if we really want to gate that stuff. I mean, that's a question. If we really don't want them using maces without taking master of maces or whatever, then we can certainly make that change. I don't remember removing that. So, I thought that it did grant that in there. I'd have to go look at it. It's been a while. Right now, Wood Elves, Duelists, Confessors via their ultimate, and Assassins can bypass walls, gates on forts, and keeps. Working as intended. No, it is not working as intended. Later on, we are going to make it so only the Duelist with their burrow can do that. It's just right now, all teleports do it, and since those abilities all have a teleport component, they all do it. Eventually, that will check to see if there's a checkbox in there, check that says that it can bypass. Chicken ticker decay rate doubled 2 builds ago. I didn't change it.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing
sometimes things start working.
I'm guessing that something started working. Excuse me. Oh, you know what it was? I betcha it was that pool fix that Charlie did.
Right. Pools.
Yes. So let's talk about that for a second. If you unequipped or equipped anything, or you changed stances, Trace, you caused yourself to increase pool values by a fractional amount, including the food pool.
Yeah.
And what that would do is basically, you didn't notice it, but as you were just moving through the world, equipping, unequipping, changing stances, you were gradually getting food back.
Yeah.
That
that's no longer happening.
It's
like anything, right? We're gonna, we'll tune things as stuff changes.
That was a good fix, by the way. It was
very strange.
And
strange bug.
And it wasn't a large amount, but if you gain back 0.5 food every time you do one of those things, the food pool is only 100 big.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take long to stay. It doesn't take many of those to do that. So
the more fiddly you were,
right,
the less you ate, basically.
Now, I can see it also going up because now every 200 stamina, you consume 1 point of food, and you're consuming more stamina every time you retaliate.
Yeah.
So that will make that go up. But we can tune those values if need be. But that was, I totally forgot about that, that pool one getting fixed. It was funny because it was also healing people. There was weird game effects that were getting triggered. We had a bunch of procs that were triggering. And I was like, why are those triggering right now? All I've done is equip something. Yeah, that was a good fix. Do Elkin have more than one stomach? Those things are voracious. Believe it or not, I believe the centaur, when they craft the vessel,
that's true,
you can add an enhanced stomach in there that makes them consume less food.
That's amazing.
So
it is a centaur modification.
It is a centaur body part additive that can be found from killing. Right now it's zombies, I think. But again, the additives, we'll tune that stuff as more NPCs come online.
Eventually, you'll probably get it from a centaur, like a centaur. I don't know what, faster. I don't know. Centaur ascetic.
The cleric's ultimate's not regenerating based on healing. That's interesting.
That is.
Mark will look at that later.
I will look at that.
Okay. So, thanks everybody for coming out for our monthly Q&A / show you something new stuff that we put in. Next month should be even more exciting based on the features that we kicked off last week and the week before. So I'm hoping that a lot of that stuff is ready by the next one of these. Thanks for the great questions. Play the new crafting stuff on 5.4 and 5.4 Live. It will get a wider spread. Any feedback on the forums, we are listening. And please post some screenshots of the new stuff as you craft it. just so that we can see that stuff is not coming out too underpowered or too overpowered. And when you do that, please tell us how many experimentation points were put into that thing, because that'll really help us dial things in. Because again, we're trying to figure out what we call every man is making, which is not the best, it's not the worst, it's just kind of your average spread, because that's what most of the population will end up using when they play. So, once again, thanks for coming out, and we will see you in a couple weeks.
Next time.